The tablet does double as a communication device, but the escape pod itself is designed to be like a shelter, um,
Okay.
and has sort of the bulk of, say, like the transmitting and receiving gear for that communications device.
But
Um,
unfortunately, it's kind of sinking.
well, you could also attempt perhaps to save the escape pod by trying to get it to fire its thrusters. Um, that would be a
You do have a command roll, so.
Well,
no, it wouldn't be the same thing actually in this scenario because it's no longer in flight, and you're actually trying to get it to do something that it's landed, so it no longer wants to use its escape thrusters. This would be a mechanics roll.
And like an engineering roll? Because there is like a divert power thing there.
No, mechanics as the skill, the professional
Yeah.
skill.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I am.
Not as
that is my
the
specialty.
piloting or shipness. None of the shipness is now in play anymore. It is no longer a ship. As an escape pod, it ceases to be a ship when it lands.
Okay. So giant.
That in my book is now a landed escape pod, I guess. I don't have a better name for it.
I mean, I am a mechanic.
Yeah, you're on precious few seconds, so you can only attempt one thing. You can attempt to salvage what you can from it, or you can attempt to get it to save itself and therefore preserve everything, or to be really super sure that you aren't in any trouble, you can just leave and you'll have the chance to jump from the escape pod to the outside of the quicksand.
Can I at least know the DC for trying to save this escape pod?
The mechanics roll?
Yeah.
I don't always like to tell people what the DC is of things if they're not
Well,
sure.
surely he would be able to take a get. Well, I guess he can't see anything, so.
I'm going to say that I'm going to be vague about it. As a mechanic,
somewhere between
you've done this
1
sort of
and
thing.
100.
You've done this sort of thing many times before, but not in such a time pinch. That's what you know about it. You've done the sort of get it to break a very simple rule, get it to fire when it doesn't want to. You've done that sort of thing, hundreds of times. It's a simple thing that mechanics have to do all the time. But you've never done it under this time constraint, and you're also technically upside down, because the escape pod lands head first in this quicksand. So, and I'm not gonna kill you if you fail. Like, I'm not gonna straight up kill you if you fail on a simple roll. Jacob, I need you to be decisive. Otherwise, I'm going to say that the escape pod just sinks.
No.
With it.
I know. I was really just trying to side. Okay, I'm saving it.
Well, right, but that's exactly.
I know.
Be decisive.
It's for 3d6 plus 1.
Which thing are you trying to do? You're trying to save.
I'm trying to save the whole thing.
All right.
All right, 3d6 plus 1. That one.
The thrusters start firing in the quicksand, which causes the quicksand around the ship to bubble, and doesn't seem to be enough power to expel the ship from the quicksand going into these particular thrusters. But the descent is slowed. You could perhaps try yet another mechanics roll to divert more power into the thrusters that you were able to get to fire.
Let's try.
All right.
One.
Those ones, man. Those are brutal.
Do you have anything with your mechanics in terms of like critical hit?
Are there critical hits? No, yeah.
Primaries.
Something.
I mean, reroll single dice from this skill roll.
There you go. Strong hit.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. Reroll your 1.
So just roll 1d6, I guess.
Yeah. 4,
Four.
which now brings it up to 15. Your So yeah, to explain, when you get a 6, you get a strong hit. You can do a thing. Thing that he could do in this situation was re-roll one of his dice. He would obviously choose the 1. That brings his total up now to 13, I guess, because it's only really plus 3. No, it's 14, right? Yeah.
14.
So it's 14 total. It doesn't matter. Goes in 8, 12, 16s. So at a 14, he beats the 12. The thrusters, you divert the maneuvering thrusters to these slowdown thrusters, which are the ones that are underneath the quicksand, and that is enough to briefly move the entire escape pod into the air, and then fall almost immediately again afterwards, right outside the quicksand, hard on the ground on its side.
Good.
You are jostled, but you have managed to preserve the escape pod.
Your jimmies are
And
rustled.
whatever.
They may be rustled, but they aren't. At least they aren't sucked up by quicksand.
Whatever sort of survival stuff.
Very good. Very good.
Very good.
All right. We now have to return to Dr. Talios.
Hello.
Your
Hello.
escape pod is hurtling
Hello.
towards some rocks.
What was that?
Your escape pod is hurtling towards some rocks.
Cool.
So not a particularly soft landing.
No. But you know, I'm basically one with the capsule at this point in time, so I'm like a can of sardines up in there. So there's not much jostling that can go on. Alright, so what do you want me to do? I can collide with it, I suppose, or I could attempt another maneuver roll.
You could do that.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I'm questioning, that I'm not, even though I've scanned this system many times,
Sure.
perhaps Dave, you could tell me,
Mm-hmm.
is there a particular system for determining damages or resistances outside of combat?
Well,
Like, say
you
if
got
we
your
were to-
endurance, but if you're out of combat, it just comes back. If that makes any
Right.
sense. So if
So-
I take more damage than I have endurance, then I will take critical damage. And it's
So
pretty
let's
much all there
say-
is to it.
But let's say, as opposed to I'm about to crash you into some rocks,
Uh-huh.
let's say I was poisoning you in a social situation, or something like that, where it's outside of combat and your character might physically take damage in some way. Are there any rules for that?
Not that I can tell. I mean, it's
I
pretty
don't
much
recall seeing
endurance
anything like that.
damage.
Yeah, so it's just there's just the endurance stat. So why don't you tell me what your endurance is?
Okay. Just completely forgot where it is on this thing. Endurance is 20.
Your endurance is 20.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to say that I guess we're going to do a combat thing. We're going to do combat, sort of.
Alright. Do I roll
I'm going to
initiative against the rocks? Oh.
No, you don't have to roll initiative against the rocks. It's the rocks just attacks you, and you try to be defended against the rocks.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that the impact against these rocks is a 4d6, and your defense, because you're in this capsule, is considered 4. Plus 4, like cover, so to speak.
So there is a damage control engineering skill.
But that seems to. I don't think that's probably about preserving the damage of the ship. This is actually about you specifically.
Alright. So what am I trying to pass here?
You don't pass anything. I roll against whatever your total defense ends up being after I give you plus
Okay.
4 cover for being inside the capsule.
Okay.
So you have essentially 4 cover, and you're ramming into something that is 4d6 attack.
Sure.
That's going to be my. It can't crit though. There's no crits from the.
Okay.
Wow. I imagine that beats your defense.
I don't know if I have any defense. I have... It's... Okay, so my defense is 14. No, wait. Yes, 14.
Okay.
No, wait, 18.
Um,
It's 18 because of the full cover, so...
it's 18.
Yeah, it's 18.
So, I mean, you take 2 endurance damage, which immediately recovers.
What? Oh, yeah. No, yeah. No, if it beats my... If it beats my... I take 20 endurance damage.
No, well, because it's typically you roll against the defense, and then you take the damage of the weapon.
Okay, and the rocks 2 endurance
And
damage.
I didn't, rocks impact. I haven't ascribed a weapon to impact. I gave it a thing, and I was like, okay, if it does enough damage to, like, break your endurance and go over into an attribute, you'll take attribute damage.
Okay, am I taking attribute damage?
Having now resolved this situation, you crash into the rocks. It hurts, but it's just something that you need to brace yourself for and regain your breath, and you're fine. Having resolved it, if we encounter the same situation again, I will.
Well,
tweak
it's
how I handle
perfect
it.
because I ran into the rocks, right? It broke the
Right.
capsule, meaning I could actually get out of the capsule.
Yeah, no, definitely. The capsule takes damage. The capsule takes plenty of damage,
Yeah.
is what we'll say with that 20. So it splits open almost like an egg, and the alien figure of Dr. Talios crawls out of it in a very, like, sci-fi horror scene, almost.
Yeah, sure. I just recover anything I can from there, I guess, and I'm just like, okay.
Well, with that resolved, everyone is now on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
You land within minutes of each other, and you can all take actions freely as you see fit.
Okay, so
So
tell
go
me
ahead.
about this communication thing. Am I able to see other pods around me with it?
Okay, so you want to know, like, the telemetry of where other pods landed.
Yeah, I assume that would be a feature of something like this.
Yes, okay. So, especially with your pod damaged, in order to recover that particular piece of information, you can either use a mechanics or a programming roll.
Yeah, they both suck, so I'll just do one. Whatever
Okay.
one. 14. That's actually
Nice.
pretty high, yeah.
Yeah, that you really blew that out of the water. Congratulations, you definitely get pod telemetry
Okay.
out of your thing.
So
But-
I noticed that there's a lot of ones close by to me, I assume. So,
So I actually am going to now take the opportunity to mark where you and anyone else who succeeds a telemetry roll would see pods.
okay.
So please allow me to do that. I don't have, like, an overlay ready. I have to use the freehand draw feature.
That's fine. Just don't draw dicks, and it'll be fine.
I don't ever draw dicks because I am a mature adult who don't need no dicks. Other than the one that I naturally have. Oh, that's no good.
By the way, your island looks like a really, like, startled bird. He's like, oh shit.
I thought, like, I was looking at it, and at one point I was like, oh, that's a dude. Like a dude with a goatee beard.
Nah, it looks like a bird to me with a beak.
Yeah, that's fine. Is there any way to make this bigger? Yeah,
So
extra large. There we go.
What was it? Was it mechanics or something else?
You can do mechanics or programming to get the telemetry
Oh,
from
programming.
Well, you guys landed perfectly. I fucked up, so.
Graham-Land.
Yeah, but but I still want to know where everybody else is.
Well, I mean, like,
Yeah.
yours wouldn't be broken, so you would just know where everyone
Oh,
is.
so I would just know. Okay,
Yeah.
well, that makes sense.
I mean, mine
No,
landed into rocks.
that's
and
not
stuff.
true.
Really? Okay. Shit.
It's not that yours was broken. It's everyone's pods are not necessarily in the best of condition.
You have a habit of picking the most awful colors for this.
Is blue not good?
Nah, blue's fine. It'll be fine.
How does a 7 treat you?
How does the 7 treat me? You basically hammer a rock against your escape pod, hoping that something happens, and
Tell me
nothing
where they
does.
are. Escape pod.
Where are the drugs? Where are the drugs? Where's Rachel? Yeah. Well, it looks like Caswell passed. And that's about it, huh?
I say,
You're
well,
muted
if
again,
you want
Jacob.
something done right, you're gonna do it yourself.
Well, the two scientists know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just your yards don't know shit.
Yeah. That's right.
Apparently.
Whoa, hang on. There's more than a few pods in here.
I mean,
They're
everyone from your ship went into escape pods.
true.
Which one am I? I'm this one, right?
I'm the big one.
Yep, you're that one.
Okay.
Alright, I'm going to draw a circle around mine. Oh
You don't
shit,
need to
that's
draw a
10.
circle around yours.
Yeah, mine is over here, right?
Yeah, that's yours.
Alright, so we only know the position of me and Pauls are the only two that know of others' position, right?
Yeah.
No, Gifka also succeeds in getting telemetry.
Okay.
Oh, just
It was an 8 difficulty.
Okay.
alright.
Cannon like misses out by one.
I'm not impressed by fancy, hokum technology. I can find it myself with survival skills, and then I put my finger in my mouth and then hold it up to the wind. It tells me nothing, but
Does anybody else want to do anything else with their escape pods, like try and activate the communications?
Yeah,
or...
is there,
Yes. I'm gonna activate communications.
yeah, activate communications, and you said there's a data pad with stuff on it.
Yeah, the data pad has basically the map so that you can take it with you.
I don't think I would
and-
activate the communications because, I mean, like, my first thought would be, like, turn on the beacon, and then what do I see in this, like, because I'm pretty close to the circle, right?
So do you actually want to try and like crawl up on a rock and see what's happening on the circle as opposed to just an aerial
Sure.
photograph?
Yeah.
All right then. The stealth rolls only apply in combat, but we'll have to use just awareness. Let's use just an awareness roll.
All right. $16.
Ooh, okay.
Damn.
So you crash into this field of rocks that sort of rises above this field that stretches out before you. And it's really perfect because you can crawl up just high enough over this rock for your eyes to peek out, but still be largely concealed.
This giant fucking alien man is just like, his eyes are peeking out, but he's got like his fucking fins or some shit sticking out behind him, like out of the rock.
I mean, these are huge rocks that you crashed
Okay,
on that sort
alright.
of jut up into the sky. So you're like they're very jutty and pointy. So you're able to like scale up one on one side, while laying relatively sort of diagonal
Okay.
to the ground.
Sure.
Yeah, you see what I'm explaining.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So outstretched before you is, first of all, in the distance, you see a towering structure that very much contrasts the surrounding wilderness of green and sand and tropical. It's a silver spire that raises into the sky with 4 prongs that jut up from the top of the spire.
Is there a magical eye floating in the top of it?
No, because there are 4 prongs, not 2.
Oh, okay. My bad. I'm getting my fiction confused here.
Yeah, see. There is, however, red light emanating from the top of this spire as if it was, some sort of volcano or something, and that the inside was lit with red.
Okay. It looks man-made,
This-
though, right? It's not like it's rock or anything like that.
It's definitely not rock, but it doesn't look like the technology of any of the species that you're aware of. It reminisces of the mechanids that you fought earlier, but there is a distinct difference to it, which you are able to parse with your 16 roll. Further, you can see that the tower is surrounded by low-cut grass for hundreds and hundreds of yards, which is weird, right? It's not naturally growing grass, or it's not grass left to grow to its own devices. It's been low-cut. And at the exterior of this, circling the entire thing, is basically a junkyard with still steaming craters in it. where you can see all sorts of salvage that looks like spaceships, large pieces of spaceships, engines, parts, big boxes of cargo, entire cargo bays crash landed in this basically destroyed and desolate and still smoking in places wreckage
All right,
that circles the entire thing perfectly.
I want to look up into the atmosphere. Is there anything still falling?
So you can see the two black streaks of the two halves of your ship, and you can see that they didn't land in the junkyard like they may have been supposed to. They go wide to the west in the island and the east.
Okay.
Which, due to your telemetry roll, you can that helped you to parse out which way was north,
All right.
south.
Do I spot the pods that were activated on the beacons?
You mean the pods that are sort of in the junkyard?
Yeah.
There's one that that is sort of close to you. You see that one?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
You don't see it though.
Okay.
You see the smoking crater from it, and with a 16, you can also see mechanids moving through the junkyard towards it.
Okay. Well. Okay, so in that case, what I want to do is I want to go back to my pod, and I want to search it for my SMG and any of the remaining clips that I had.
All right.
And then instead of like alerting anyone around me, I'm just gonna move to the ones north of me.
So you're not going to attempt to turn on the communications. You're just going to salvage things from your
Yes.
escape pod and then move off.
That's right. Mostly because I have a feeling that they're going to know if I activate it. Because I have an assumption that once I activate a beacon on mine, for example, maybe like a radio signal or something like that, or try and find communications from something else, the beacons that are around the mechanids will light up with some information about where the other ones are. So
you can make, if you so choose, a mechanics roll
okay.
to knowledge check if turning on yours would be a danger to others,
Okay.
as opposed to just you, which you're quite certain is a possibility.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's like that's how I'm gonna go with it, at least anyway.
Yeah, you can stick with that assumption.
So in that case, I'll salvage it, and then I'll start making my way to the pods.
So
that,
how much, other than your weapon, are you trying to salvage anything else?
if there's any medical gear in there, I'll take that. I'll try and take the toolbox that I have. I don't know if I brought it with me, but I would have had it on my person when I got in the pod. I'm going to try and see if there's anything else in there, like maybe like close range communications. I don't know if that's a thing.
So you can give me an awareness roll to try and salvage everything valuable from
11.
the. So with an 11, you properly salvage the sort of data pad that has communications built in and has the information about the topography that it scanned. Which, by the way, there's more there than just the visual map. You can tell that it has features. It did a full scan of the island.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there isn't incredibly complex scanning equipment on escape pods, but it is still the future. So an escape pod hurtling towards a planet is able to glean more from its position than, say, a modern satellite could.
Sure.
There's probably more information there that could be accessed with perhaps computer knowledge.
Whoever's got the roommate, can you mute yourself if you're not talking? Thanks.
Or mute him with duct tape.
So my first priority is to get away from the mechanids.
Now, first, correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
As per your character sheet, and it being a survival game, you have 0 resources, right?
I have 0 resources and a max of 3.
Gotcha. So, here's the gist of it. in the chaos of the crash and landing on the planet,
Sure.
your gun has gotten somewhat damaged and covered in crap. It might still work now, but if you don't find the capacity to maintain it, which is the explanation for resources,
Okay.
it will cease to exist for you at the end of the session.
All right.
Which is
and-
essentially... So this is the rule where if you find a gun that you don't have the resources for, you're able to use it until the end of the session because resources represent your capacity to maintain a weapon.
Right.
Or,
so
or
do you
a piece of
need
armor.
the resources of that gun in order to maintain that gun?
That's how it works.
So are you saying that I need to get, like, I'm pretty sure my resources for this gun was like a 2
Yep.
or something
you
like
would
that.
need
So I'll need to find
two resources.
2 resources, either by salvage or by some other means, right?
Yeah. So resources will have to be acquired by the people, by all of us, in order for us to, till past the end of the session, have working guns.
Sure, fair enough.
Um,
Okay, well in that case, I'd grab what I can. I'd grab the medical gear, the weapon, the ammunition. It's probably going to be my priority. Any close range communications. I hope that means like it doubles up with the data pad because that'd be pretty awesome if it did. And then
Right, the data pad is the communications and the map
Perfect.
and some additional information that might be wanted to be gleaned.
Sure.
There is medical supplies, however, they are designed to be for single-person use only and very limited.
That's fine.
The medical supplies that they are do not count as a toolbox under the system rules.
Okay, but I had a toolbox when I came in.
Yep. But did you take it with you to the escape pod?
Of course.
And
Remember,
okay.
I grabbed it from the lab when I said I'm gonna go find people that I can help. So
Yeah,
I grabbed
okay.
the toolbox and then I ran out.
Okay, that's all I needed to hear. You definitely have your toolbox. However, for everyone else, the medical supplies that are in the escape pod are, for all intents and purposes, just fluff. They will not provide you any actual benefit mechanically.
All right, and then I would make my way north, and then I guess you can jump to someone else.
Yeah, we're gonna jump to whoever else wants to do things. Go ahead and speak up if you have an idea of what your character would do in the situation that they're in.
Well, since you asked.
I did.
I clearly having no idea where anybody else is. Did I happen to see anybody fall from the atmosphere?
Because you had such a perfect landing and stepped out of it so awesomely all at once, you were able to not only see the 2 pods containing Talios and Gifka still breaching orbit with fire at their fiery halo. You were able to watch the ending of your ship, the 2 halves of your ship, crash on different parts of the island. And I can tell you that from your perspective, you can see that generally it's likely that one half of your ship landed somewhere in this direction. I'm pinging. Hopefully I'm pinging. It's lagging.
You should just draw on the map.
Okay. Let me, I apologize for this lag. I don't know why Roll20 is lagging. It just is. Anyway. Oh, yeah, I can do that. So, Graham, I'm going to do just what you just did.
What?
Cannon.
Oh.
You think that somewhere in this direction one half landed. Do you see what I'm doing? Do you see that?
Yeah, I see it.
All right. And you think somewhere in this direction the other half landed.
Interesting.